let's begin the Q&A. Okay, Gomez, your hand is up first.
Thank you. I'm not loud. My voice just came. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't need the mic. Okay, sorry. You want me to do that? Oh, wow.
Friends, my name is Joe Gomez. I probably would fit with that new label, NGI, individual, not linked to anybody. I'm from Jaya. Wonderful, great, Haris. Thank you very much for organizing it. My question, if Andrew is rushing out, I need a small clarification question with him, if you don't mind. My main question I'd like to go together. Andrew, that mechanism to register overseas students through the embassy, through the high commissions, is already in place for sponsored chappies, sponsored by the government. Those students can register there. That mechanism is already there.
It has been in the past. More recently, since they got wind of us, it has been in the past. We've heard of people doing it before, but at the moment, anyone who calls the High Commission is directed to the Election Commission because they know something is up, I think. I think they are telling the truth in some instances, but it has been done before, but I think it's a bit patchy.
Sure. Sorry, thank you very much. The question that I wanted to ask was, as I was listening to Malik and also Sri, I sort of threw back to my upbringing, where I was born. I was born in an estate, a plantation, ladang kind of thing. And I'm wondering, okay, even I'm in touch with a number of people over there. And I don't know whether my perception is wrong. The people over there, especially the guy, you may not be able to relate with viewpoints of the nature that Malik and Sri were expressing. And I'm assuming, Haris, that this initiative is going to become countrywide, as in not only KL PJ Center. Has it already started in other states? Which would be good news for me, of course. And therefore we are closer to the ground, I guess. The candidates that are put out there to work on the ground would not necessarily have to look like me. I'm from the estate, doesn't mean you have to look like me, but relate to my issues. I'm stating the obvious, obviously, right? But not at this, that crude example, Maslow's hierarchy of these guys. We are at a very high plane here. The discussions are at a very high plane.
But the guy,
my question is, how does MCLM seek to address that? To fit the candidate to that location, for want of a better word. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next. The gentleman at that, you may have to come out. Yeah? So those who want to actually ask the questions, please come forward, so we'll cut the time walking forward. We want everybody to be fair to be able to hear your question. Yeah, please come forward. Next, anyone who wants to ask questions, please come down. Johan, please come down closer so that it takes faster time, Yeah, Johan, just get yourself ready. Anybody else? Yeah?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Chu. I'm a blogger. My question, I have two questions. First thing, now we are offering the candidates. First thing, I want to know the funding. Who will fund the candidate? Because from my experience, you need at least 100,000 for 1 week campaign. Secondly, I think you shouldn't recommend a candidate to any party. Just look at our two friends here. I think you have more credibility than a lot of Pakatan Rakyat and PM candidates. Why don't you do like this? Just like Makau Sakti, Utaya Kumar there. Write a letter, ask them, okay, you all don't feel any candidate, let us fight a few. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Muhammad Shah from here, but I'm from a political party. I think my engagement or my involvement in some NGOs. I've been with Malik and a few other guys here for many years, more than 10 years. But I am a founding member of one of the political parties that had some problems recently. Okay? So, but my issue here is this. From what I can see, or from what I heard from Haris just now, from Malik, which is very familiar with me, and some of the guys, I think we do share a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
So, but I do not see. I hope we don't have to, go against each other. And I think if we are level-headed enough, we are matured enough, and we do that roundtable discussion really well, I think it will serve both our purposes. So I think there is no real, if you are really for the rakyat, as I was, I've been all along with the party, and this issue, and I've been with the NGOs for many, many years. So I think if we are really for the rakyat, we shouldn't at all come to even going against each other. So I think this statement is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yong from Monash University. I have a question for the Andrew. Because recently I went for Singapore to register some of my friends voter. And then can I know that can they vote in Singapore High Commission instead of going back to their hometown vote? Because most of them are quite far from Singapore, either Sabah, Sarawak or Terengganu, Kelantan. This is quite a technical question. And I don't want my effort be wasted because of the geographical distance. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Please come forward. Yes. Gentlemen, please come down and wait. Yeah, wait in the aisles. Just wait in the aisles so we know who is next.
Hello, my name is Steven. I think ultimately my question is this: who in the end is going to decide to become a candidate? Who makes the final decision on who gets to become a candidate? That's all. Thank you.
My name is Rashid Khan. I would like to ask one question regarding what Mr. Haris Ibrahim mentioned just now, that the list of independent Malaysian rakyat candidates will be recommended to the non-BN parties. What happened? Because all political parties in Malaysia, irrespective whether they are ruling or opposition, they would like to look after their own candidate first. And even in PKR, PAS, DAP, they have their own list of candidates that have been working and loyal to the party for how many years. So naturally, when the election comes around the corner, they will give preference to their own candidate because of proof of loyalty, etc., kind of thing. So when you suggest to these non-BN parties, and they say that, sorry, now we have our own candidate, we don't want to squabble, we have our own candidates, our own party members, and whatnot, and your candidate will be rejected by these parties. And having said that, you are going to stand as a real independent candidate. The way the country, the election has been run in this country, when you stand as independent candidate, you are bound to follow the rules by the election commission. You are not allowed to use your own logo because you are not a registered party. They will give you all sorts of logos, chairs, table, car, all the stupid image. So this will make the voters down there very confused because one candidate standing for a chair logo and the other candidate using spectacles. And down there, when you go for election, the way the election is being run in this country is beyond your imagination.
Your question, please.
When you go down, when you go down to the political field, all sorts of things happen. Money, everything, bribery, torture, whatever, beyond your imagination. So my question is that, how are you going to streamline your candidate, having to use different logo in different constituencies if you are running as a Malaysian candidate? How you convince your voters to vote for you? Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, Johan. I said 5 and then now we already got to 6 times. So, I'll ask the president first. Yeah? Okay, we. Yeah? Can we? Yeah. Andrew, first about the students in. overseas, yeah, in Singapore.
Really, the way it should work, I'm not saying that it will work, the way it should work is that you should, if you're overseas, you should go to the Malaysian High Commission or Embassy in the country that you're in. They should give you the forms, they should witness your application, and then they should send it off to the Election Commission. At the moment, it's not happening that way. The other route we're looking at is just getting the forms from here, sending them to overseas and getting them filled in and sending them direct to the Election Commission. We're looking at that at the moment, and we're hoping to meet. I'm hoping to go with Dato' Ambiga of Versailles to meet the Election Commission sometime in January to try to sort that out. In the meanwhile, we are having forms sent directly to the Election Commission. So if you don't want to waste your time, then probably the best thing is to ring up the High Commission first, see if they've got the forms and are willing to do that. If not, you'll probably have to wait like the rest of us to try to sort it out until the Election Commission gets its house in order.
Yeah. Anyone else on the phone? Or Ben on the panel? Yeah, Sri, you want to say something?
Joe, you said your question was, how are they going to reach out to the constituents in the estates? Is that what you're saying? Or the rurals? The rurals.
The state was just an example.
Yeah.
How do you fit the candidate to that peculiarities of that location?
Okay, and so in fact, your question itself, in a sense, answers the question itself, in that we have a committee that is studying the constituencies, all right? Studying the constituencies in order to match the constituencies with the profile of the candidates. Right? We are not on a kamikaze mission. We are in this to win because we want to put in the buffer. So we're not out there to try to prove some principles. We're in here to win because it's critical to get the buffer in. Yes? So we have a team that's studying the constituencies, studying the demographics of the constituencies that we identify, and then we'll look at the profiles of the candidates and find the most ideal. But I want to address this point, Joe. One shouldn't assume that none of us can go to the rurals and start to resonate with the people there. That's not true. A lot of us go down to the Ulu Selangor and Kuala Selangor areas and work with a lot of the estate Indians. And I tell you, we get along like a house on fire. So there's no truth to that. Yeah?
I didn't mean it.
Yeah, but it seems to suggest.
If Rumbau can tolerate KJ.
Yeah, well, again, there's an assumption there. The question of tolerance. Sir, the question as to funding. Raja Petra on the 12th of December in the forum in London disclosed that Malaysians who have long stayed abroad and who want to come home, I suppose these are some of the people that Andrew was speaking about, post the 12 GE suddenly see that there may be hope, that the people may be rising. And they think that if there is this initiative that is prepared to try to draw some of the best in civil society to come forward and do national service in Parliament, they are prepared to bankroll it. RPK has announced in London on the 12th of December that we have received pledges up to 10 million. Somebody said you will need at least 100,000 for a one-week campaign. We have asked for a budget that the law allows. 200,000 is the maximum the law allows per constituency. So we've asked for 6 million in anticipation of a 30 candidate initiative. That's 6 million. And from now to nomination, we do not know when that is. As we deploy candidates to the constituencies, we want them to be effective. And I want to come and address that point that was raised by Rashid. We will set up the infrastructure for them. Okay? So a pledge or pledges of 10 million have already been placed with us. Some funds have already been deposited with stakeholders in London. So I have the comfort that when I come and tell these candidates will fund you, there is some money already. Yeah?
Um,